Hello everyone! Today we're going to be jumping back into Historic Brawl with Hidetsugu and Kairi. Now, this is a 5/4 flying ogre demon dragon, right? And we have a ton of effects on both entering and leaving the battlefield. So, when these guys enter the battlefield, we're going to be able to draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from the top of our hand on top of our library in any order. So basically brainstorm, right? ETB brainstorm. And then, when they die, we get to exile the top card of our library. Our opponent is going to lose life equal to the mana value of that card. And if it's an instant or a sorcery, we can cast it for free. So, as you can imagine, we're playing around casting a bunch of spells for free. Playing this like a combo deck. If you guys know me, you know how much I love combos. So let me just talk a little bit about how we're going to make this work. So step 1, get a sacrifice outlet for our commander. So Ashnod's Altar is one of the prime targets for this. Now why is this one such an important card to have in our deck? Because we can fetch it with both Trophy Mage as well as Moonsilver Key, since that is in fact a mana ability. So that gives us at least 3 different ways to draw into that on its own. We also have Altar of Dementia. This is a great sacrifice outlet as well, and as a bonus for us, it's going to mill our opponent when we go ahead and use that ability. Always having a free way to sacrifice our creature is going to be very good. Now here, with this equipment, we can actually sacrifice a creature to equip this. So as long as we have this equipment, we have a free sacrifice trigger. There's another one for us. Also very strong. Now, a little bit of a weird way, but we can pay 1 life and tap this to destroy a permanent that we own. Also works, not quite a sacrifice trigger, only works once, but that is also very strong. We also have the Bloodflow Connoisseur. This will let us sacrifice a creature at instant speed and put a +1/+1 counter on the Bloodflow Connoisseur, so that'll give us some additional value out of our sacrifices, and give us as many sacrifice triggers as we need. And then we can also sacrifice an artifact or creature here with a Defiant Salvager, but we can only do this at sorcery speed. Over in the mana base as well, we do have 1 copy of Phyrexian Tower. This is another sack outlet for us, and another way to enable our commander's death trigger. Now, we have a ton of ways to make our commander die, but what do we want to do when our commander dies? We want our commander coming right back out onto the battlefield. So we have pretty much every spell that grabs a creature out of our graveyard and puts it back onto the battlefield. Tons of these. They're going to be really easy to draw into, and notably all of them are going to be 5 or 6 mana, sometimes even more, and it's going to let us keep on looping this sacrifice and reanimate combo, dealing 6 damage to our opponent each time we end up 5 or 6 damage each time we end up doing that. Now, if at the top end we do have a couple of spells in here that are expensive spells to hit with our commander's death ability that aren't reanimation spells. So we have things like Seagate Restoration, very expensive. Allrun's Epiphany, taking an extra turn, gonna be very strong as well. River's Rebuke is a really good one for us also, since that's gonna disrupt our opponent and set them back very far. We also have Discover the Formula. This is going to find us a bunch of non-land cards, which is going to be really powerful, and also it's a 6 mana card, very strong. Then I think one of the most fun ones that we have in this deck here is Mind's Desire. This is a Storm card, so as you imagine, each time we're casting the reanimation spell off of our commander's death trigger, we're going to be increasing that Storm count, and then if we can end with a Mind's Desire, well, we can exile a whole bunch of cards, and most of our cards are expensive, and resolve them. So very good. Now that we have a good idea on what this deck does, remember, if you guys have been enjoying my content, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on my latest videos. And if you do like this video, make sure you do give that a like. Let's go ahead and see how this deck does. Alright, opponent going first, and I couldn't ask for a better starting hand. We have a sack outlet, we have a reanimation spell in our hand. We can start with a turn 1 Thoughtseize. This is going to be very strong. I'm fine with our opponent drawing a card here, because notably that card draw happens first. So we can go ahead and take that right out of our opponent's hand. Now let's see what we want here. Alright, so I think, honestly, the Thran Power Suit, that card that they just drew, is probably going to be the biggest issue in the long term, but I think we're going to combo off faster, so let's get rid of the intervention here. Hang on to all of our artifacts. I really want to keep our altar. Yep, alright. Well, let's go island, play out the altar. Opponent can draw a card, that's fine. Now all we need is enough mana to cast our commander. We have 2 reanimation spells, so we know we can cycle through this at least twice. Okay. Now we do have some interaction here if we need it. But not yet. We're just gonna go ahead and take that. And yeah, we're fine with him having this. This isn't an issue. Okay, another land. Very fortunate for us. Alright, one more land and then we're gonna be ready to go with the combo. We do have our commit here. Now, do I want to use that here? I don't think so. I think we're gonna go ahead and let that resolve. Cost 1 less. Let's just go ahead and return that. We'll pay. There we go, they just wasted a little bit of mana. And now they'll have to crack one of their treasure tokens if they want to get their value back. Sure. So that's pretty strong. Though we just drew our mana confluence, so now we're ready to go. Time to brainstorm here. Oh, and a Mind's Desire. This is pretty great. Let's go those 2 first. Make sure our spell's on top. Alter, pick our opponent, sacrifice our commander. Now, this is the most difficult part about playing this deck. You have to decline to put your commander back in the command zone. Let's go Ogre. Yes, we'll take that Ogre back. Here's another Brainstorm. Let's go Watery Grave again. Rise from the Grave. Looks good. Easy. That one's on top. Okay. Well, know what we have to do this time. Nope. He goes right into the graveyard. Let's go ahead and cast this. Do this one. Yes, please. Alright, so now it looks like we have no more reanimation spells. So instead, let's go Island Mind's Desire. Keep Mind's Desire on top. Sacrifice our commander. Now this time, we do have an interesting choice here. I think we're going to leave him in the graveyard. Cast Mind's Desire. Here's Storm. Okay, Moonsilver Key. Pretty good one. Island, sure. Cauldron's Gift, yep. Alright, so let's go play out the Moonsilver Key. Cauldron's Gift. Gonna grab our commander back. Alright, and now let's go ahead and put the Seagate on top. Looks like we got it. Alright, opponent goes first. Now this would be an okay starting hand if we had some black mana. Yawgmoth is a nice sacrifice outlet, but let's go ahead and take a mulligan instead. This looks good to me. Ashnod's Altar, we're starting with our own. Let's see. Let's go with the Estuary. We're gonna reveal an island, start with a Thoughtseize. Okay, so lots of gaining control of a creature. Let's get rid of Deadly Dispute. The way for our opponent to sacrifice said creature that they gain control of. Okay, we'll go ahead and play the island. Now, it's actually not in our best interest to foretell the Epiphany here. Let's go Ashnod's Altar. Okay, commander, sure. Forsaken Crossroads, probably. Do I want to pick black here? I think I do. And I think I'd rather Scry. Malakir Rebirth. That's actually a fine card for us. I don't mind that. Okay, looks good. Sure, attack, that's fine. Alright, so now we have Malakir Rebirth. So we can use that to have our commander come back after we kill them, which we can use with Alrund's Epiphany. Let's go Moonsilver Key. I'm going to activate this ability. And then, how much mana do we have here? 2 left. I think we're going to go ahead and grab the Mind Stone, because I like the card draw potential there. And we'll play out Mind Stone. Now this has us all set up for a very strong turn, next turn. Oh, and Rise Again, perfect. So, fingers crossed for no counterspell here, but let's go ahead and tap down like so for our commander. Alright, we'll go for that and that. Thwart the Grave on top. Let's go Malakir Rebirth. Use that on our commander as well. So that's gonna give us another trigger. Sacrifice, we're gonna decline here. Stay in full control, because there are gonna be 2 triggers to bring him back to the battlefield. Okay, submit 1. 0, yep. Let's go ahead and resolve this. Yep. Okay, command the Dreadhorde, and let's grab Ringsight as well. Go command the Dreadhorde on top. That's going to be the more expensive one of the 2. So that's still a trigger that's going to bring our commander back at the very end. We're not going to put it to the command zone. Target opponent. There we go. Let's resolve. Grab this. That's going to be 6. We are going to take some damage here. ETV. Well, look at that. That's another reanimation spell. Perfect. Sacrifice. We're going to decline once more. Pick our opponent. Grab that. Here is our commander once more. Okay, let's go here and Rise Again. Rise Again on top. Sacrifice. Again, and we're going to have this for sure. Decline to put the commander in the command zone. There we go. Opponent. Resolve. Cast this. Here's our commander. And we've got it. Alright. Okay, and here we are up against the Watcher in the Water. We can go ahead and keep this opening hand. We have Guardian Idol for ramp, Bloodflow Connoisseur. Drawing into Mind's Desire is very strong. Guardian Idol looks good. Let's go ahead and steal our opponent's play. We have a Feigned Death as well. Alright, they can go ahead and get rid of that. Let's just go ahead and play Aghadeem's Awakening as the land. Nice. Alright, we do still need one more blue source, but let's go for the Bloodflow Connoisseur here. We can keep it alive with Feigned Death if our opponent has some way to kill it. We are getting close to being able... Yeah. Looks like we have our Guardian Idol back. So all we need is that one more blue source. Brawl, sure. Alright, well, let's just play the Hive here. End the turn. We are just playing a game of waiting for that blue source. Fortunately for us, by the time we do actually go for the win, I think we're going to be in a really strong spot. Let's see if we can just steal a counterspell with the altar here. No? Okay, we get it. Resolved. That's fine. Maybe we'll start attacking with the Hive. Alright. Again, this is fine. We're kind of just playing a waiting game. To deal 2 damage, that feels like a waste of River's Rebuke. But maybe that's just for me personally. Still no blue land. Let's go altar. Idle. Just replay everything we had before. End the turn. We will eventually get that blue source. And when we do, we're going to be in a really strong spot. Okay, sure. Attacks. Yep. Okay. Moon Silver Key. We're gonna activate this ability. Now I do have a choice as to what I could get here. I think we just go Arcane Signet. This is gonna draw the counterspell, if they have one, but they don't. Alright. No attacks, end the turn here. Now we do have Press the Enemy. We can use this to disrupt our opponent's game. Alright, I think our opponent wants this. Now, do we want to put this back in our opponent's hand? I think so. Let's see if we could draw that counterspell out. We're gonna decline to cast. Okay. Now, I do have commit here. I think we just go for the commander. Alright. That's fine. Back in the command zone you go. Yep. Let's go ahead and animate our Hive. Move 2 attackers. Swing out here. I think we just hit counterspell. Move to combat. Damage. Looks like no blocks. End the turn. Next turn, we try for our commander again. Unfortunately, Arcane Signet is not going to untap for us. It means we are going to have to wait one more turn here. Unless we draw that blue land on top, which I'm sure we will. Unfortunately not. Alright, well. No attacks, end the turn. We have multiple ways of bouncing our opponent's permanents. Yep, I'm just gonna go ahead and take that. Midnight Clock, sure. Alright. Let's go with trying to bounce their commander here. They're so close to untapping it, I think they're gonna want to use a counterspell here. Or not. Moving on to my turn. Alright. Well, let's go for our commander. See if they have the counterspell. Okay, they do not. Alright, looking at potential interaction. Okay, Cyclonic Rift. They do have an option here. Let's go Feign Death on Hidetsugu. Keep things in control mode. Pick our opponent. And we'll mill them. No command zone here. Target our opponent. Let's see what we have on top. Unfortunately, it was a land. But it does get returned to the battlefield, which means we have this trigger. Alright, there we go. Gonna go for these two, put that on top. Gonna do this one more time. Again, this is all in response to the Cyclonic Rift. Keep that in the graveyard. Here's our opponent, submit. We're gonna resolve. Grab this spell. Go ahead, cast this. Get our commander back. Let's see what we draw. We might go for Mind's Desire next, which would be very strong for us. Okay. Trigger. Alright, yep, looks like it's Mind's Desire time. Okay, goes like that. Alter. Sacrifice. We're gonna decline. Target our opponent. Submit. Resolve. Cast that Mind's Desire. We've got Storm here. Okay. Rise from the grave. Cool. And we've got it. Alright. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed. As we saw, our commander is really strong at comboing off and continuing to loop reanimating itself while simultaneously damaging our opponent for 5 or 6 damage at a time until we eventually get to the kill. Some of the biggest weaknesses that we face with this deck are decks that have a lot of interaction. So, as we saw in that last game there, if our opponent had 2 ways to deal with our board, we would have had a problem, but we were able to combo off in response to that first spell. We also really fold to graveyard hate. If our opponent can keep exiling our commander out of the graveyard, then we're not actually going to be able to set up that loop. So like a leyline or something like that would be very difficult for us. Now if you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you have any ideas for another deck you'd like to see me play, why don't you let me know in a comment down below. I'll see you all next time.